G'day guys and welcome to Aussie English. My objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to speak like a fair dinkum Aussie or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy Aussie English. G'day guys, welcome to this episode of Aussie English. Today I felt like doing an expression, and the expression for today is to be flat out like a lizard drinking. To be flat out like a lizard drinking. And so, seeing as we haven't done many expressions recently, I might do quite a few in the next few weeks. This one dates back to the 1930s in Australia, so last century, early 1900s. And the definition of flat out like a lizard drinking is to be extremely busy or to do something at top speed, to do something very quickly. It's a play on two different meanings of the standard English flat out or to be flat out. And the literal sense of to be flat out is to lie fully stretched out on the ground, so like a lizard would lie fully stretched out on a rock bathing in the sun trying to warm up, or fully stretched out drinking water. And the figurative sense of the phrase flat out or to be flat out just means to go or to do something as fast as possible, as quickly as possible. And so the phrase also alludes to the rapid tongue movement that a lot of lizards make when they're drinking water. So they'll actually move their tongue in and out very quickly, picking up the water in order to drink it, kind of like a dog would do. And so that's where this Australian phrase, to be flat out like a lizard drinking, originates from and what it means. And so I'll also mention that it can be shortened. So sometimes you'll hear people say, for example, the full phrase would be, we're flat out like a lizard drinking, trying to meet our deadline at work. So you're working really, really hard at work in order to try and meet your deadline. But you could reduce this to, we're flat out like a lizard trying to meet our deadline. We're flat out like a lizard. So you haven't said like a lizard drinking, you've just said like a lizard. But then you can also completely reduce it to just, we're flat out trying to meet our deadline. We're flat out trying to meet our deadline. So those are the three different ways that you may hear this kind of phrase, suggesting that you're incredibly busy, you're working incredibly hard and incredibly quickly to get something done. Another thing that I'll mention is that when you use this phrase, for example, the bloke's been flat out like a lizard drinking, painting his house. So we've said the bloke's been flat out. So you've used the bloke and then the expression flat out like a lizard drinking. And then the thing at the end of the sentence there is what he's doing. He's painting his house. But you can also put the thing that you're talking about doing, flat out like a lizard drinking, before the phrase flat out like a lizard drinking. So for example, the bloke's been flat out like a lizard drinking, painting his house. The bloke's been flat out like a lizard drinking, painting his house. But then you could also say, you could rearrange this sentence and say, the bloke's been painting his house flat out like a lizard drinking. The bloke's been painting his house flat out like a lizard drinking. Another example could be the sentence, I've been working all day flat out like a lizard drinking. I've been working all day flat out like a lizard drinking. And you could rearrange this to be, I've been flat out like a lizard drinking, working all day. I've been flat out like a lizard drinking, working all day. And so for the last exercise, I'm just going to conjugate the pronouns and verb to be in the present tense with the expression flat out like a lizard drinking, just so that you guys can practice a little bit. Let's do it. I'm flat out like a lizard drinking. You're flat out like a lizard drinking. He's flat out like a lizard drinking. She's flat out like a lizard drinking. We're flat out like a lizard drinking. They're flat out like a lizard drinking. And now let's do it in one of the past tenses where we'll say I have been, you have been, he has been, etc. I've been flat out like a lizard drinking. You've been flat out like a lizard drinking. He's been flat out like a lizard drinking. She's been flat out like a lizard drinking. We've been flat out like a lizard drinking. They've been flat out like a lizard drinking. So there you go, guys. That's the expression to be flat out like a lizard drinking, to do something incredibly quickly or non-stop at a constant sort of rushed pace, or to be extremely busy as you would be at work when you're trying to meet a deadline or you're trying to get something finished before the end of the day. So that's the first of hopefully quite a few expressions that I'll go through in the coming weeks. I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to come over to the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/The Aussie English Podcast, and come and send me a message or drop me a comment and let me know how I can improve, what other resources I could potentially make for you guys to help you improve your English and especially your Aussie English. And if you have any questions or queries, feel free to message me those as well, or even suggestions for other episodes, things that you liked, things that you didn't like, all those sorts of things. So until next time, guys, I hope you have a great week.